Yeah, I know this video is a little late, but I said I was going to do it, and here I am. This is my personal best settings in Fortnite. I'm going to split this video into 3 sections. The first one is of course my sensitivity settings, because I know that's what you came for, and I'm not trying to waste your time. I used to be the same way, so I understand. The second section is going to be about my controller binds and how I use 2 paddles. I'll get into that a little bit more later. The last section is all about the basic settings. This part is everything you should already have on. You won't believe how many people don't have the basic settings. I would recommend you watching this just for that. Alright, before we get started, I'm gonna need you to turn on advanced settings in your sensitivity settings. If you don't have this on in the year 2026, I just know you're walling out here. Like, what are you doing? Okay, for my sensitivity settings, I set my build and edit speed multiplier to 1.8. This is the sweet spot for me. Most people have this way higher, but during my testing in the last year, it's way easier to be a smoother player than a faster player. Moving on to look sensitivity. I set both horizontal and vertical speed to 39. Again, a sweet spot. Do not turn on boost. Boost gets like really complicated and I'd rather not use it, so just set all of it to 0. Now for the aiming sensitivity. Put the horizontal speed to 12% and the vertical speed to 14%. The reason why my vertical speed is a little faster is because when somebody grapples to me or they shockwave, they're always in the air and I can't track them. So I noticed that 2% difference like really helps. I could track them so much easier than I could before. And again, 0 boost. You don't want to use that. Scoped multiplier is always set to 1. That also gets complicated. It's just easier to just set it to 1. Set your look input curve to linear. Oh my god, there's so many people who use exponential, and I get why you use it. It makes life a little bit easier. You can hit more shots, but at the end of the day, if you want to get good at this game, put it on linear. This is the smoothest setting you can put on. Out of any other setting, this is the one you need. Like, you gotta trust me, this will change your life. The smoothness is absolutely immaculate. Alright, I don't care if you think you're good without aim assist, set that to 100%. I don't care. If you don't have this setting at 100%, I know for a fact you're just trying to show off to your homies that you don't use aim assist. Buddy, it's the year 2026, nobody cares. Set it to 100%. And for those who found a YouTube video telling you to put it at 99% or 97% or anything other than 100, they're straight up lying to you. I don't know where you're getting information from, but you gotta stop that. Like, let's be real. Do you really think setting your aim assist to 97% makes a difference? Of course not. Like let's be real. I can't say this enough. Set it to 100%, alright? Now for dead zone. This is a very important setting. I'm gonna need you to set those to the lowest possible setting without stick drift. Especially for linear players, you want to be as smooth as possible. I'm sure we all know what stick drift is. I don't gotta explain it to you. Anywhere from 5 to 10% is fine. That's like the good spot. Anywhere in those numbers, you're good. Trigger release. This is the newest controller setting, and oh my god, it's OP. Set that to 5%. It's like having trigger stops without having trigger stops. It's mad OP. You gotta set that to 5%. Every other setting does not matter. We'll come back later. Now for controller binds, I use the PS5 Edge controller. That means that there's 2 paddles in the back. I use the left one for jumping and the right one to pull out my builds. There's only a couple of settings in here that I changed, nothing too crazy. If you play on Builder Pro, I'm sorry, but you gotta hop off of it. There's some settings in here you gotta start using, even if you don't have paddles. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on here and you're gonna go down to the edit option. You're gonna put your edit building to the left thumbstick. This will change your life and it will change the way you're gonna edit. You won't understand until you do it. This is like step number 1 for controller players. Now going to the movement settings, this is gonna sound a little weird, but I need you to do it. Trust me, it'll work. So because we set our editing bind to the old sprinting, you can't sprint anymore. I know it's weird. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna set your sprint bind to the touchpad, or if you're on Xbox, just one of the buttons in the middle of the controller. Trust me, you'll get used to it. And now since the touchpad is set to sprint, now you're wondering, how am I gonna open the map? Scroll down to the building and scroll a little bit more to see toggle map. You're gonna put this on your right D-pad. This is usually used for like squad commands. Nobody uses that, so put it on your map. And you're gonna want to keep scrolling until you find more of those, because in this edit session, here it is again, toggle map. Always set it to the right D-pad. And if that sounds a little confusing, I think it's easier if I just show you the entire list so you can just copy it on your own. Alright, that's all you need. Moving on to the basic settings. You gotta have these on. If you don't have these on, I know you're crazy. Starting off with the PC players. This is very important. If you're a console player, just bear with me for a little bit. I gotta explain this real quick for the PC players. If you have the option for DirectX 12, you have to turn it on. DirectX 12 is the best rendering mode we have right now. This will increase your performance by so much. You need this, alright? Turn that on. If you don't have it, then I'm sorry, you're stuck in the past. And of course, if your PC is a little older, or if you want more FPS, you can set it to performance mode. This performance specifically is DX12. Legacy is DX11. You don't want to use the Legacy, you use a new one. VSync, I would recommend turning that off. You don't need it, and it does give you a little bit more FPS. Nothing too crazy, but it does help a little bit. I gotta mention this real quick. If you use colorblind, I think you're kind of crazy. We're still using colorblind, like that gives you zero advantage. It does not help you see better in Storm, alright? Motion blur, turn that off. This will get you dizzy. You don't want to get dizzy. For graphics settings, I would set all of these to low, and I will set your view distance to epic. The only reason why I have this on is for my videos. Most players don't really notice, so just turn this off. If you have an NVIDIA card, you want to set your low latency to on boost. I'm not sure what it is for AMD, but I'm sure it has a setting somewhere. If it has low latency, you set it on boost. You want the lowest possible latency. Now for console players, take out your notepad. It's time to write these down. A lot of you don't have these settings and it's kind of crazy. Toggle sprint. You press the sprint button one time and it sprints automatically. You don't want to be holding it the entire time you're sprinting. That's crazy. Turn that on. Auto open doors, same thing. You don't want to be clicking the button to open the door. Mantle activation and hurdle activation. You want to put hold jump and press jump. Nobody wants to do this automatically. It can ruin every playstyle. You want to do it manually. For combat, this should all just be default settings. Except for this one, hold to swap. This setting is very helpful. When you have a green AR in your inventory and you see a blue one, you want to go to that AR and you want to hold the button and it'll automatically swap your green one with the blue one. It's OP and it's like quality of life change. It's perfect. Mark danger with ADS. This should already be default as on, but some of you have it off. Turn this on. I don't know how you mark danger without this. Simple build and simple edit. If you really want to get good at this game, you don't need these settings. You gotta put in the work, the hours, the grind, and especially if you're on linear, you're already putting in the effort, so why are you gonna make it easier? Turn them off. You don't need this. And also, a simple build just doesn't really work too well. I don't know what they're planning on that, but it just doesn't work. Turbo building should always be on. If it's off, I don't know how you've been playing the game recently, but turn it on. Disable pre-edit option. I turned this off, but a lot of people struggle with this because they edit their builds on accident. You can turn it on if you want. There is a small delay. It's nothing too crazy, but it is noticeable. That's why I turn it off, but it's all just personal preference. Auto confirm edits. This is edit on release. If you're not using this, you're one of two people. One, you're either an OG player who doesn't know the new system, or two, you're a new player who still doesn't know the new system. This option is the best thing that's ever been created. You want to turn it on both. It'll make your editing so much faster and you'll click less buttons. Who doesn't want to click less buttons? Turn it on both. I don't care. Now go into game UI. You want to put your damage numbers on a cumulative. What this does is that when you're beaming somebody with an AR, it calculates the total damage and it'll give you that total number. It's just easier for callouts, especially if playing duos. You want to give your teammate the exact number. You don't want to hit somebody 33 4 times and then just say like, oh, I hit it for 130. No, you want the exact number. Everything else doesn't matter. Now for the last basic option, you don't have to do this, but I feel like it's kind of a basic thing. Slide hold time. This one's a little weird. The reason why I put it on 0.030 is because I like to slide a lot. When you're in someone's box, you gotta slide around. You gotta make it as hard as possible for them to hit you. So put this as low as you can without accidentally sliding and you should be good. Vibration feature. Same thing with the trigger haptics. Turn it off. You don't need that. You do not need that. Who cares? Turn it off. I don't think you want to be build battling and then your controller is just vibrating all over the place. You don't want that. That's weird. Yo, really quick, I forgot to mention this. I use Control Freaks. If you don't know what that is, it's like an extra extended stick that you could just slap under your controller on your thumbstick, and it really helps with like aiming and just looking around in general. It's probably one of the best things ever created like in gaming history. I'll be honest, none of my settings matter unless you have one of those. You have to use a long one specifically. Yeah. I would really recommend you buying that. Like, I wouldn't even recommend, I'm telling you to buy it like now. All right, that's it. Back to the outro. All right, that's it. Those are my entire settings. If you want more information, just leave a comment and I'll reply to you. Again, these are my personal settings, so they may not work for you, but if they do, that's great. You can always use my settings as like a base, a starter, and then you could adjust them later on. That's what they're here for. Good luck. Get better. We're all becoming bad, so you gotta get good at this game now.